Yo, 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 here we go. Are we ready? Alright, let's go to full screen here. How's it going, Chooms? Good to see you. It's been a long time. It's been a couple months. Let me turn down that music a little bit. Well, you know what? Let's just turn it, like, super down. That's what we're gonna do. We're gonna turn it super down. What's up, Chooms? Hope everybody's having a wonderful week. We're in the middle of it. We're in it. We're in 2025. We're 2 years away from, well, no, 2020. We are in the time of the red. Are we not? 20 more years. Jesus Christ. Sorry, Chooms. My brain's not working correctly. 20 more years. And we'll be in the time of the red. What's up, Jay? Oh, during a work meeting? That's... You know, don't get fired because of me, Choom, but thank you for being here. Martin, good to see you. Thank you so much for supporting Chooms. Thank you for coming by. We're going to do a live chat like the ones that we've done in the past. We're going to look at some stuff. We're going to talk about it. I'm going to answer some questions from chat. We're going to have a good time. And that's how it's going to go down. And I hope you guys are all having a wonderful time. Yeah, 2025, I'll be making more Cyberpunk content. And I still love the game. I've been itching to play, been wanting to play. We will be old bastards by then, exactly. And we'll still be playing Cyberpunk, hopefully. I started with Cyberpunk way back then. It was black books, no color. I love those black and white books. I'm actually reading Brainware Blowout. Raish Bartmoss's Brainware Blowout. And it's a 2020 supplement. It's in black and white, and it's awesome. And I'm going to do a video on it pretty soon because I like it. So I'll be doing that. And yeah, 2025 is going to be awesome. We're still making Cyberpunk content. We're having a good time. I just got a new computer. Okay. New computer's awesome. It's a monster. I gave my old computer to my 6-year-old son, which he is proficient with, which is nuts. So... There's that. There's his two monitors are literally, his computer's like right there. I could touch it. Look, I touched it. It's right here. And then my computer's right here. All right. It's crazy. We got a whole command station going on over here. Love that book. Yep. Love that book too. Funnily enough, one of my players is an old man. Shout out to Old Foggy. Cool. That's good. An old man brings fun to the game. That's for sure. All right, why don't we get straight into it, all right? We got some links from Reddit. We got some cool stuff we can talk about. And we'll go from there. All right. This is from the D&D subreddit. Our group had to remove someone for the first time. Now, that's always going to be an awkward encounter. That's always going to suck. And I wonder how it went down here. To start, I play at my LGS. We have a pretty sweet gig. We do have to pay, but half the money gets put into a pool that we can use to buy books or other items needed for the games. We run several different games and have never had an issue until the past year. I don't know about you guys, but if you've been to a local FLGS or a gaming shop, you know, some places they charge for the tables. They have like a rental fee, a table fee. Other places, they're like, I would never do that. You know, that's a robbery, blah, blah, blah. This is supposed to be a safe space for people to play. I'm in the middle on it. I think the best way to implement it is kind of what this person just started saying, but not the half the money. Put all the money onto a gift card. Put all the money onto a gift card that people can use to buy stuff in the shop. I think that's the best way to do it because either way you're going to get the money, but they also buy merchandise. So in a way, you're giving tables out for the customers that buy things. You know what I mean? What's up, Stas? Good to see you, buddy, man. Miss you. Hope everything's well with you too, bud. Congrats on all the marriage stuff and all that stuff, dude. Life. Growing up and being alive. All cool with table fees. They need to pay rent. Yeah, exactly. And the one of the FLGSs that I went to, they let you put that money into a card, and then with that card you could purchase stuff. So I think that's the best way to do it. Anyway, Yeah, life, exactly. As credit, day of is good mix. Yeah, I think so. As credit, exactly. A gentleman joined our group. We have roughly 20 plus people on a given night, and almost immediately he starts to rub people the wrong way. He was rude and loud and wanted things to go his way. He seemed to have an inability to read a room. Ah, we've been there. All right. And it's always this guy. This is the guy. All right. Like, not only do you not have proper social skills, but you're also rude and you're loud. Which, hey, look, we all have our issues. We all have stuff that we need to deal with, social anxiety. We're neurodivergent, whatever, man. We're in that kind of genre of gaming, okay? Those are our people, all right? Even if you got none of that stuff, you are one of the people, okay? They're your people. And I've had the best times of my life with neurodivergent people playing games, and sometimes you just have to navigate it, find a way to navigate it, and it's perfectly fine. But there's times where limits are reached and the line is crossed and something needs to be done, and I think that's where we are with this story. I think something might have happened, so let's find out. One of the DMs pulled him aside and told him the concerns and issues other players had. He said sorry, he had Asperger's, and social stuff was hard for him. So there you go. That's an acknowledgement. It's hard to kick a guy out after he does that, especially if he apologizes and says, like, hey, I can't control everything about me. But maybe there can be a line of communication there where you're like, all right, is there something I can tell you, like a secret word or a code word or something that I can tell you that won't embarrass you, but at the same time, it's a communication between us that, hey, you're acting up a little bit. That's what I would do. But anyway, let's see how it goes down. So the DMs had been helping him and everyone was trying to be understanding, but after a few months, nothing got better. It's tough. We had a group meeting with him and explained the rules of the night and what the owners of the LGS expect. Well, in the past month, he has gotten a lot worse, and every time one of the DMs brings it up, he says, well, I have Asperger's. He doesn't seem to learn from his mistakes or actions that throw people off. Okay, this is a tough one. Let's see. I'm going to keep going. We would have dealt with it, though, until the owner of the store pulled the DMs aside and told us that they have received complaints that this individual has been making comments of a sexual nature to some of the other players, making them uncomfortable, and that, as of right now, this person is no longer allowed in their store. All right, they got the store ban. I mean, they got the store-wide ban because they were doing creepy things, okay? So I don't know what the problem is here. Maybe this is just a story. So now we have to talk with everybody that sexually explicit talk or comments are not allowed. Something I did not know I was going to have to say to a bunch of 18 plus adults. Oh my God. Well, we got an update here. So update. Okay, first I posted this in hopes people would move faster at correcting than we did. We should have removed him long before it got to this, and I took full blame for that. I don't think he's being too hard on himself, or they're being too hard on themselves. I did not know about the last comments until the owner told us. I would have moved to remove fast had I known, but that doesn't excuse how slowly I moved to begin with. Just being so harsh on yourself, I think. It felt as if he was using his issues as an excuse to act the way he did. Instead of getting better, he stayed the same, which again is my fault for not acting sooner. So the issue here is, it's not like if this person has some kind of neurodivergence and has some kind of social issues, you're not going to fix it with a couple conversations. It's not going to get resolved with a couple conversations and then, okay, from now on, we're going to be good. No, it's a continual support kind of thing. The thing is, not everybody is appropriately equipped to do that for this person. And as sad as that sounds, not everybody even has the mental capacity or knowledge to even know how to support this person. So in essence, it's inappropriate for them to be in the environment that they are without the proper support. And if the people there at the table are not able to do it, are not able to continually support this person, basically you let things go, or you have some kind of line of communication where it seems like that person is trying and really cares and is apologizing when they do something wrong, and then at the same time they're making efforts and you can see efforts and stuff like that, then if you have a hand-in-hand support system, you can make it happen. But unfortunately, with some people, they need more support than you can give them, and they're just not, it's not appropriate to have them with the group that you're with. Now, that's setting aside the whole nature, like, of the sexual nature or sexual comments that the person made to somebody and getting kicked out of the store because of that. That speaks on something else. You know what I mean? That's something else entirely. And it is awkward having that conversation with 18 plus adults. But I have that conversation right away. Drugs, there's cussing, but there is no sexuality. We're not going to be having sex with NPCs, okay? If you flirt with an NPC, that's one thing, but you taking them to another room and me explicitly telling you what's going on, that's not going to happen. Maybe Fade to Black will do something like that if I find it to be appropriate. And basically, we're keeping it classy and we're not keeping it weird. And I let people know that, like, right away. And most people love that kind of transparency. They like that upfront talk about that, because then we don't have to have the awkward conversation later. We would just have the conversation of, hey, cut it out. We already talked about this. Cut that shit out. You know what I mean? So, which, by the way, after we've talked about it, if you're doing like weird sexual stuff after we talked about it, what's good? Do you're weird. You know what I mean? What's wrong with you? So, yeah, that's what I would do. But anyway, that's it. If true, it's not his fault that he has Asperger's, but it's on him to act in a mannerly way. Yeah, I wouldn't even begin to understand how you work with somebody like that. One of my good friends had Asperger's, and he would have, like, you know, moments where he would say or do something that was inappropriate, and it would get weird looks, and people would like be, and then I would have to tell them, like, oh, you know, he's on the spectrum, and then they would understand. But anytime I brought that to their attention and said, like, hey, this happened, dude, and they reacted in this way, this person always went back and apologized, always went back and like owned up to it and said, like, hey, you know, I have some issues and I'm sorry, that was never my intention. And that's why it was easy to work with them. It was easy to be with them and easy to give them continual support, because they showed growth. And it wasn't like one day they were going to stop doing the things that they were doing. This is a lifetime kind of personality, you know, it's a part of who they are. And you either have the patience for it and you're going to support them because you care to do that, or it's just not going to work out. You know what I mean? And it's no harm done. If it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. All right? Exactly. People like that guy need professional support, not a group of new people sharing a hobby. Yeah, a group of people sharing a hobby that are not qualified in the first place. They don't know shit about shit. Okay? Yeah, exactly. All right, let's move on. Okay, I saw this video out there from creator, what's his name? RPG Gamer. And it is a deep dive on the 2013 Cyberpunk OG from R. Talsorian Games. Came out in 1988, and it's the first of its kind. It's the number one. It is Cyberpunk 1, okay? I actually played 2020, the second revision, I think. 2020 version 2 is what I was introduced to. So I didn't even do version 1, or I think this was 2013 was the black box, which was like a starter kit that came in a black box. So we're going to watch this video. We're going to support it. We're going to give it a thumbs up. And we're going to subscribe. And we're going to see what's up.
Hey guys, Freddy here. Welcome back to another Retro RPG. The end of another week, the end of a poll. We've got a very slim win for Cyberpunk, the 2013 first edition version. Now this was going to be a review of my physical copy, but unfortunately it's in storage and I've had such a chaotic week I've not had a chance to go over and get it. So I'm going to be doing the PDF review instead on the computer desktop. and more about my chaotic week at the end of the video, when I'll cover some other stuff about the channel and some other stuff about the poll. But before I do that, I'd like to take a moment to talk about my Patreons, who are wonderful, wonderful people who make all of this possible. And I'd like to thank them from the bottom of my heart, as their efforts are ever so much appreciated. Now, if you'd like to join them and help support the channel, and I sure wish you would, or you'd like to see these videos a week early, or you'd like to see one of the other levels of patronage we've got, then there's a Patreon link to in the description down below. If you check it out, it'd be very much appreciated. But anyway, let's have a look at Cyberpunk 20.
Yeah, if you like this video, make sure you go to the Patreon and support and subscribe and everything. So let's do that. And yeah, I remember that Arnog quote as well, Martin. I'll remember it for the rest of my life.
2013. So, this is Cyberpunk, also commonly known as Cyberpunk 2013, because it is the first edition where the second edition of the game was Cyberpunk 2020. And it's far more famous, so we retroactively changed the name of this one to Cyberpunk 2013 to identify the different versions of the game. Now, this came out from R. Talzorian Games in 1988, and it originally came in a box set, like this one for second edition. A nice chunky box, which contained 3 books.
There it is, the black box, the famous black box. But the art, man, the art style and everything, this, just looking at that art style where it's like the negative color, black and white, there's something so beautiful about it. It looks like an 80s action movie, like opening credits, you know what I mean? It's so cool. All right, that's enough.
So the 3 books were Friday Night Firefight, which is the combat system, the main sort of fighting rules and everything. View from the Edge, the Cyberpunk Handbook. And thirdly, Welcome to Night City, a source book for 2013.
Okay, that's actually, I didn't know that. That's amazing. So it came with the source book. It came with the it came with the core rule book, the Night City source book. And what was the first one? And Friday Night Firefight, the combat system, all 3 of them in the black box. That's so awesome. Basically, all of those things are now jam-packed in the core rulebook. Maybe not the Night City source book, because that is its own thing, but we will be getting one soon, is what I've been hearing, or we'll be getting one eventually. The Night City source book, which I can't wait for that. One of the best source books for any RPG. It's just so cool to see district by district and all the cool things that you can do. But it is awesome that back in the day in '88, you would buy this game and it came with all this stuff. It looks like it was a lot of fun.
So let's have a look through them. First up, the artwork is nice. It's very clear, it's line artwork, there's no colour in here, this is just black and white all through. The design's by Mike Pondsmith, obviously very famous these days, and we've got a nice contents page here. So it goes through the advanced combat system for interlog. Preparation, what materials you need, what character you're going to get, and it's got a short form showing your stats, what body areas are going to take wounds, what phases you're going in, what weapons you've got. So it explains a 3-phase turn.
So looking at this and then looking at the Cyberpunk Red character sheet, we obviously see a big difference. In Cyberpunk Red, there is no more limbs that you can target, or limbs don't have separate SP or armor, and you don't calculate them differently. In 2020 you did, in 2013 you did, and I kind of understand why. It looks more like a kind of flight simulator or space combat esque kind of thing, where every part of the body has a different function and it has its own health, and tackling combat in that kind of way is fun. I like it. I like the number crunching and the ideas of where you hit, what you hit, and what consequences it has, hitting the foot, hitting the arm, hitting the eye, all those things. It changes the dynamic of the game. But in practice, I believe that the right thing to do is what eventually happened with Red, is everything kind of got rolled up into one. There's still ways where you can target limbs, but you get a -8 on a called shot, and then there's critical injuries that can happen to limbs and stuff like that. So in a way, we still have the essence of what happens when a limb gets shot or a limb gets removed, but it doesn't capture what we're looking at right here. It doesn't capture the kind of, battleship with the different parts of it have different types of health and the story that it tells. So I think overall it was a good idea to do what they did with Red, but I do miss looking at something like this. So I think that's fair.
And in Mechton and other RTG adventure games. We go through scale, movement, ambushes, task attempts, all the usual sort of combat stuff. We've got turning around in combat, normal attack rolls, defense rolls, combat experience. We've got special attacks here, attacking inanimate targets.
All right, we got to take a look over here at auto fire, because auto fire was one of those big things, and it's in Cyberpunk Red. In my opinion, I think it's a really difficult thing to tackle, auto fire, because what it was in 2020 was absolutely way too powerful, and it meant you can kill any character at any point, at any time, just by being point blank range with them, with any weapon that had a 30-round magazine. So I think obviously that doesn't work, but Red, I don't think, has captured what auto fire really is. I get what it's become. It's kind of become something that it wasn't in 2020. Now it's this thing that can swing, like, oh, if you automatically fire in someone's direction, the idea is you don't have a handle on your gun, so you're missing a lot, but some of the bullets hit. Or you have a good handle on your gun because you rolled really well and you concentrate a lot of bullets in one direction and you do a big boatload of damage, right? That's what the 2d6 is supposed to represent. But I don't think it's there, though. I really don't. And I have my own homebrew version of auto fire, and I don't even think my own homebrew version of auto fire is there either. I don't think I figured it out. I roll. So basically, when you're doing auto fire, it's still the 2d6 times whatever, times 3, times 4, whatever. But whatever you rolled on the die, the number that you rolled on the die is added to the damage. So it's always going to be on average +5, +6 kind of damage, which is a big boatload amount, and that's what I wanted auto fire to feel like, is at the cost of ammunition and having to reload, you can do a bunch of damage all at once. But like I said, I don't think it covers it really well. I don't think that even my homebrew does it really well. And if you guys have ideas about auto fire, put it in the comments. I'm happy to look at it at one point. But I've heard from many people, and no one has been able to figure out how to make auto fire work, in my opinion, how to make auto fire work in Red or 2020, where it wasn't absolutely busted. So let's see here. Special attacks, automatic fire, the favorite of filmmakers, drug dealers, and would-be Rambos everywhere. Automatic fire can be done with either submachine guns like Uzis or the Ingram Mac, or with assault rifles such as the M16 or the popular AK-47. In theory, automatic fire should be absolutely deadly, and it is to a point. It's pretty hard to dodge 20 bullets headed your way. However, there are really two kinds of auto fire, each with its own advantages and limits. Okay. So in 2013, they split auto fire into two things. I think this is how it was in 2020 as well. I haven't played in a while, so let's check it out. Direct auto fire concentrates a large number of bullets on a single target. This kind of fire is fairly inaccurate, in as much as the recoil of successive rounds makes the weapon very hard to control. All right, same idea in Red. It's hard to control the weapon. It moves around too much. Direct auto fire is best used when you want to make sure your target is dead, and you don't care a whole lot about wasting ammo. It is also most effective at point blank and close ranges when you have only one target to deal with. See, that's one of the big problems with red. The big problem with red is you can be in point blank range with someone and absolutely miss every one of your shots in auto fire. It doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel logically like it would make sense. But the other option is what 2013 did here, which is you're more effective at point blank and close ranges. Let's find out what that means, okay? So direct auto fire can be performed in two ways: a short 3-round burst, giving better control over longer ranges, or a full auto burst, firing the maximum rate of fire possible for the weapon, depending on the type of burst. The defender will either use the range modifier column for 3-round burst, or the column for full auto. So I guess we got to look at whatever that column is. For every point greater than your opponent's total, 1 round will hit. Oh, yeah, that's right. That's how it was in 2020 as well. So basically, then your opponent's total. So there's a DV that you have to hit, and for every number you go past the DV, depending how close they are and how far they are, that's what it was. Then that's a bullet hitting them. Example, my attack total is a 10. For every point greater than your opponent's total, 1 round will hit, up to a total number of rounds fired. So if it's a 3-round burst, it's easier to hit, and you get hit with 3 rounds, which is huge. You know, that's what, 5d6 times 3, 15d6. You know, hopefully you don't roll too many 6s, right? Example, my attack total is 10. I decided to full fire auto from my 9mm Uzi, 20 rounds. The defender fails his roll by 7 points, taking this many rounds. Okay, so I rolled a 10. My attack total is 10. And they rolled... The defender fails his roll by 7 points. Okay, I guess I would have to look at whatever the chart is. But basically, the difference between whatever the rolls were was 7. So you take 7 rounds of damage, which is a lot. I think 9mm were 2d6 in 2013. So 2d6 times 9, 18d6. Or sorry, times 7, 14d6 is a lot of damage. It's a lot of damage. That's an Uzi, okay? An Uzi just wiped someone out. So I don't think they had auto fire down in 2013 as well. I think it's one of those things that was difficult to nail down. And I don't think that anyone has nailed it down yet. I'd love to see if somebody could figure it out. Maybe we got to throw a D8 in there. I don't even know. You know what I mean? Like, maybe we got to get a new dice in there. Who knows? Okay? Pepto-Bismol says, I've come around to auto-fire red. You want to do a lot of damage in one turn? Get a bigger gun, not a faster one. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But I mean, that's not what auto-fire was. Like in this example, it was an Uzi. No one uses an Uzi in red. No one uses a light machine gun. Light submachine gun. Everybody either uses the heavy submachine gun, the heavy pistol, and an assault rifle. And why? Because it sucks being the one person that does no damage to NPCs while the rest of your team is just murdering everybody. And I've said it in a previous video. If your players are edge runners and they're making money, they can afford an assault rifle, okay? Gatekeeping assault rifles from them is not fun. They're going to be like, this doesn't make sense. I should have an assault rifle. And I have no reason to believe otherwise. Juan Manuel, bienvenidos. All right, let's check it out.
Automatic fire, direct auto fire, suppressive fire. We are then on to melee combat. Direct auto fire.
Okay, here we go. We got aiming auto fire, all right? One problem with aiming shots at specific locations is that you can't combine them with burst firing weapons. Even light caliber rounds have recoil effects multiplied by several dozen rounds. This bucking action will throw the gun barrel out of line within a few seconds, making it impossible to choose a specific shot location. The main advantage of rock and rolling isn't in accuracy, but in firepower. Who's going to stick his head up when there's a hail of lead filling the air? You can aim automatic fire in your target's direction taking advantage of the aiming bonus. Okay, so there is an aim bonus. I think it's in red as well. It's +1. It's just taking extra time, just aiming. You just get a +1 to hit basically. However, where you hit will always be determined on the random hit table. Okay, I forgot what the random hit table was. Is that randomly what limb that you would hit? If you guys remember that, I don't know. All right, so yeah, sounds like they still didn't figure it out.
Suppressive fire. We are then on to melee combat. And Friday night fist fight for melee combat. Feints, parries, dodges. It's quite a detailed system. Damage and wounds. Now, the main aim of this system was to be realistic. Combat was supposed to be deadly. You're not supposed to be bullet sponges, the hero who takes a gunshot to the leg and charges back into combat instantly. Fighting is supposed to hurt.
Yeah, that's a big one there that RPG Gamer's talking about. The old school, it didn't look like it was balanced because it wasn't meant to be balanced. It was meant to be that deadly. And by the way, auto fire and point blank range wasn't the only way you could kill somebody. There was many ways where you can kill somebody with cyberware, combinations of martial arts, explosives. I mean, you name it, sneaking up on somebody and doing a bunch of damage. There's so many ways to kill somebody in the old school Cyberpunk. Now, was it cool? In a way, yes, but in a way also it was really punishing. And especially when you had a try-hard game master, then there was a lot of times where it was just not fun. And maybe they were like, well, hey, that's the game. That's what the game is. And then you're like, okay, I don't like Cyberpunk if that's what the game is, you know? So it might have turned off some people to the game. It was one of the biggest complaints of Cyberpunk. I remember when Red was coming out, there was two things that they wanted to take care of, and it was the lethality and the crunching, the number crunching. Those were like two of the big. There's obviously other things that they wanted to tackle, but lethality and number crunching and prolonged rounds of combat, they wanted to get away from that, which I think they did a really good job. I still think the rounds go a little bit too long because of armor and SP and reducing SP. But do I want to see armor go? No, I like it. I think it's a good addition to the game. I think it's really fun. I personally I use armor in a different way with NPCs than I do with players. With NPCs, it's kind of like it's like a philosophy of how much armor they have, you know, and how much damage goes through and stuff like that. It's hard to explain it because I just go with the feel of the game. But players, you know, having their armor, bringing their armor down, you know, toying with that idea of like, hey, your armor has been ablated so much that you are probably going to die in the next combat. You know, that kind of danger is really fun. Michael Connor said D10, there's a table in both 2020 and Mech10. Yeah, that's right. Headshots that get through are double damage. That's right. Never had trouble with crunch or rounds taking too long. Well, there's ways to get around it, especially if you have experience. The number crunching can be faster. Like you can roll all the dice at the same time. So the hit location die, your damage die, and your hit die, do it all at the same time. So if you do hit, then you're like, okay, I hit you at this location, and I hit you for this amount of damage, all in one roll. That was one way to get past it. But I found that for some people to be like way too fast. Like they got confused, you know, they didn't know exactly what they were rolling and stuff like that. But if you get it down with a crew that knows what they're doing and has played for a long time, yeah, you can get by it really quickly. Dante Gonzalez Aguilar says, just ran my first session 0 ever. Will start my campaign in 2 weeks. Wish me luck, chooms. Haha. Happy gaming to y'all. Happy gaming. Have fun. I hope that session 0 got you guys excited. Yeah, I hope you guys have a blast. All right, let's continue.
So we've got stuff here, structural damage, bludgeoning damage, different types of armor and wounds, healing and recovery. And then we're onto a weapon reference section. Goes through describing all the different sections, and then all the weapons are very much crammed in. We've got their stats and
All right, we got to take a look at these weapons here. All right, this doesn't look like much, but as somebody coming to a game and seeing these names and all these stats and seeing how deep they go, it is a little bit overwhelming, but at the same time, I'm absolutely intrigued. I'm like, ooh, I can have a Desert Eagle. The current in weapon of the 1980s, the Desert Eagle has seen service with the Israeli army, as well as having great popularity among civilian marksmen. Yeah, I want a Desert Eagle. What's it about? I forgot what each of these little things means. I think C means concealable. J, I forgot. 1 is rate of fire. So P, I forgot. P is pistol. That's right. Pistol, rate of fire 1. J, I forgot what that means. C is concealable. And then the round is a 357. So instead of asking what damage the gun does, you would find out what damage the ammo does. Okay? And then 9 was, I believe, the magazine capacity. 2, I don't remember what that 2 is. VR is very rare. So the availability of the gun. So 357, I forgot exactly how much damage it does, but you would put all these things together to give you an idea whether this was the type of gun for you. Low magazine count, big damage. Okay, right above it, the Stayer GB80. Pistol 1 JP. I don't remember what P means. 9mm, 18 round magazine. 2 and ST. I forgot. Standard maybe. Standard. Relatively new weapon in many NATO countries. Yeah. So this just makes me want to deep dive into each one of these weapons and try to figure out which one to use. And the cool thing is they have real life counterparts. You know what I mean? This is like real guns. The Desert Eagle's a real gun. Obviously, you know, copyright, you can't do that shit anymore. This was back in the days, 88, where nobody was doing stuff like this. Smith & Wesson and Beretta, you're seeing names, Mauser, you know, those names would not be there nowadays with IP and all that. But I think that the idea of this is awesome, and translating into 2077 or 2045 would have been really cool. The current item system in Red is not as exciting as I want it to be, but it's still cool. Chromebook is cool. I like the items, and there's a lot of cool ideas within it, but this is exciting to me. I like this. John, in your opinion, should armor get ablated regardless if damage occurs or not? Yeah, in my opinion, it should. It doesn't in my homebrew games, and in my personal games, it doesn't. But I was playing like that for a little while, and I think that logically it makes sense. If you get hit and you're wearing a vest and you get hit by a round, it gets ablated somehow, some way, you know what I mean? But I've decided to run the game as close to rules as written as possible, because whenever you go too deep into homebrew, a lot of players, they kind of lose trust in knowing that how to play the game. You know what I mean? Because they might think to themselves, well, this guy homebrews so much, I don't even know if I could play the game with the regular rules. So, and if I don't know if the regular rules apply, then what's the point of reading this book and trying to figure out the rules? Instead, I tell them, look, we're playing as close to rules as written as possible. If it's in the book, most of the time it will trump anything that we say, unless we all agree that it just doesn't make sense to us. All right, it just doesn't work. Okay, one of those examples is auto firing in point blank range and doing no damage. Like the first time, okay, it's a fluke, whatever, but it happening like multiple times because of bad rolls, it really sucks. You know what I mean? It just like doesn't feel right. It doesn't make sense. You know what I mean? But I guess there's a way to explain everything. It just depends.
There's just one line across the top, and then a short description. So the 45 Colt automatic, it's got its stats: standard US military firearm for over 70 years, known as a serious manstopper with rugged design and excellent adaptability. And we go through different types: so automatic pistols, revolvers, holdouts, submachine guns, rifles, shotguns. We've got different melee weapons, and then we've got armor reference. Going through, and we've got different melee.
So this section in the armor where they're talking about layering armor, this thing everybody got wrong. Okay, there was a small section in the core rulebook that told you what you do with layering armor and how there was a downside. And everybody would get past that and be like, what are you talking, what's layering armor? And it happened so many times. And it wasn't just the game master, it was everybody at the table just missed that little paragraph. And they thought they could have like SP40 armor all over the place. You know what I mean? So it says layering armor. What a concept. You think shrugging into a bulletproof t-shirt, a bulletproof vest, and a Kevlar armor jacket. Theoretically, one should be able to layer protection upon itself. He becomes invulnerable. However, in Friday Night Firefight, the actual limit on how much armor you can pile onto an area is a combined SP total of 30, which is insane. That's a big number. This would, for example, allow you to wear an SP18 over a t-shirt, which was SP10, but not an armored t-shirt and a gunner vest, which is 35. Damage is subtracted from the total SP of all armor in that hit area. So I think they changed it in 2020. I think they changed it to give you some negatives as well. But layering armor in 2013 was 30 is the max. And 30 is a lot. It's honestly a lot. The ablation in 2020, Michael Connor says, the ablation in 2020 doesn't depend on whether damage gets through, but on how much the armor takes. See, but that's a little bit too number crunchy. The Mechton build system has deep ablation rules. That makes sense for that kind of game. That makes sense. Yes, it is different in 2020, right? I think there was negative modifiers to SP layering, because just giving you 30 SP because you have a t-shirt and a jacket, like a special t-shirt and a jacket, is nuts. So that everybody has to be doing, well then, auto fire is not as bad, right? Because you're subtracting 30 from 70. Seen it quite a few bad rolls in my sessions in that exact situation, says Martin. Yeah, so you know exactly what I'm talking about.
Weapons, and then we've got armor reference, going through and illustrating what types of armor. And then we've got reference tables at the back here.
All right, we got to look at those tables. We got ambush table, condition, dim light or smoke, complete darkness, shotgun hit, left arm, torso. Jesus Christ. This is crazy. Random hit table. Okay, we're there. We saw that. Bludgeon damage, a strike, a kick, a break, and a throw. Divide all bludgeon damage by 5. Interesting. So this is like just punching someone in the face. 1d6 plus strength divided by 5. Breaking someone's arm. 1d6 plus strength. 1d6 plus strength isn't much. Like, okay, let's say your strength is 8. You roll a 4. So 12 divided by 5. 2 damage? 3 damage? I don't know. Seems low to me. Seems like, why would you do it? But I guess that's what bludgeoning is. You know what I mean? Melee damage. Grenades? You ever want to hit someone with a grenade? That's crazy. 2d6 melee damage? Someone's got to explain that to me. The ballistic table is nuts. What is this? What is that? Feet per pounds? 971 feet per pound? 22 short, 22 long, 45 ACP, 9mm para. Yeah, this one got way too in the weeds, dude. It's what happened to Ozob. Yeah, that's right. 556 NATO, 762 Soviet. Yeah, this is like gun porn. It's hardcore gun porn on Friday Night Firefight. Look at the defender cover modifiers. Behind the hostage, +3. Behind the corner, +2. So the best human shield still exists. It exists in red. Over cover, +2. See, I would have liked this in red somehow. But it is too much to think about. Prone, +1. Target running, +2. Over cover, +2. Yeah, this is a little... I like the little artwork, though. It helps us understand. And then what's the...
And then we've got reference tables at
Okay, here's the reference tables. Range. Single shot, shotguns, full auto, 3-round burst. All right, you guys can see what I mean about the crunch, right? This is obviously the first edition. The second edition did a little bit better, but I'm getting dizzy just looking at all these numbers. I'm getting so dizzy. First, we were talking about feet, pound per feet. Now we're at meters. Now we're at modifiers. Consciousness save, cumulative wound. Yeah, this is super number crunchy. This is a gun simulator. Which is cool if you're into it, but it looks like so much to think about. Uphill movement cost, mud, phase table. What the fuck's a phase table? Phase table, reflex. Phase 1, phase 2, phase 3. Interesting. I don't know what that means. Grenade throw. Oh, I like this grenade throw table. Throw 2d6 for distance. Throw 1d6 for location. In front of the target, to the left front, to the right front, behind target. I like that. 2d6 for distance. See, I like it being the way it is in red. And I think 2020 was the same way. It was your athletics. Which means if you're good at throwing things, you're good at throwing the grenade. That's the idea. Okay. Yeah, there's a lot. There's a lot.
the back here. An errata page, fixing any problems with it, some sample character sheets, and that's us done with Friday Night Firefight. Then we're on to View from the Edge, the Cyberpunk Handbook. Now this is mainly about making characters. So we go through Soul of the New Machine, basically explaining the world. And the very first one, which is something that stuck with me and why I think Cyberpunk is very different to things like Shadowrun. Because the first thing is style over substance. If you look good, you're going to be far better than somebody who is loaded for bear. Having a massive assault rifle and doing lots of damage is important in combat. But if you can intimidate somebody so they don't fight through the style because you're carrying this massive blunderbuss of a pistol, you aim it straight at their face and threaten them so they don't fight at all, that's going to do you better. Attitude is everything. Live on the edge. And we've got the different roles. So we've got rocker boys and rocker girls. Solos. Net.
That piece of artwork right there is so
we've got
awesome.
Rocker boys and rocker girl.
Oops. That piece of artwork, dude, we're missing that. It tells you so much about the character. The long, crazy nails, femme fatale, cool 80s, 90s, like artwork, Patrick Nagel style. It's sick, dude. That's sick. A phase is 1 second, 12 phases in a round, 5 rounds in a turn. Gotcha. Okay, gotcha. Yeah, that's a lot, Michael. It's a lot.
Solos. Netrunners. Techies. Medias. Cops. Corporates. Fixers. Nomads. And then details about fleshing them out. And we've got some tables here, what your dress and personal style is like, who you value most.
So this is the life path version 1.0 it's looking like, and it's cool to see that it's basically the same way however many years later, and the reason is it's awesome. It's honestly awesome. The best part of Cyberpunk is making a character and rolling on these tables or even choosing stuff on these tables, because you really get to flesh out your character. I mean, you guys have played Cyberpunk, so you know exactly how cool it is.
Things which are still in Cyberpunk up to this day in the latest Cyberpunk Red. Headwear, the mechanics of Cyberpunk characters. So we talk about character points and the forms that you're going to use, character sheets, the statistics, what skills and tasks are. And we've got life path here. So what you spend your youth doing, what education you get on the street, whether you got military education, etc., going through your life. We've got other character things. So whether you make a friend or an enemy and different tables to roll on. Really, really good stuff to flesh out your character very quickly. Just a few dice roll and you can make a really...
I believe that's Alton Johnny. I believe so, which is awesome. That's like one of the first pieces of artwork. Dude, how cool does this? Yeah, I love this life path system, and it's so cool that this much work went into it. Return, go to C2, go to B1. It's like a choose your own adventure, but the adventure is your character.
A detailed character, straight from this 1988 edition. The tables of that, inventing new skills, starting funds, and what sort of equipment you get, putting the cyber into the punk. So we've got cyber fashion, cyber technology, booster wear, optics, cyber audio, and it goes through things. So the cyber optics has infrared, micro telescopes, microcambers, time square marquees, targeting scopes, etc. And it details everything. So we've got interface plugs, option wear, chipware, reflex chips, memory chips, artificial limbs, body plating.
This section of the book usually I would get absolutely lost in, and by the end of it, I'm like, I don't even know what to pick. Like for the cyberware, I don't even know what to pick. There's so many cool things for cool situations that might come up that I can't pick one thing. You know what I mean? But it is really cool to see all those options. And then there is the cover of the book, not negative. It's like the line drawing, but in the regular coloring, which is so sick. I've never seen that. I didn't even know that existed on the bottom right there. Really cool.
Running out of cash, what you can do to earn more money: join the covert military, take up a life of organized crime, sell out to a corporation. But what the cost of that, the catch. Being a net runner, so it explains the internet, basically. This is 1988, so nobody had really thought of an interlinked network. And while they never got things right, it's easy to fit what they've got written into what we now know about a worldwide web, internet. Got interface programs showing how different cities are linked together across Europe as well. An interface map, some of the large corporation systems, how you would move around the different nodes and what you would find there.
Okay, that's sick, dude. That's sick. I love this. I love looking at this and knowing that, oh, if you're going to go through a Mycotech ACE 123 series, this is how it's set up. Now, do I know how to do net running in 2020 and 2013? Absolutely not. Did I ever try? No. Also no. Did I know anybody that knew how to do net running? Also no. So we just didn't do it. Do we do it in red? All the time. And it's much easier and it's much simpler to understand. But looking at this, I want something like this in red. Whatever this is. I don't even know what it is and I want it. Right?
Systems, how you would move around the different nodes and what you would find there. Hardware, software, so different programs you can install on your deck, showing a netrunner with his brain burnt out.
Got fried.
Along with a large list of different programs, explaining what each does, how powerful they are. Pages of those. Then we're on to net combat, explaining how all this works. What it looks like when you go into the internet, or into the net, rather. Refereeing the net. Different computer parts when you're going to build up a system. Then we've got trauma team, medtech, and drugs in the cyber age. We can rebuild you. So body design, appearance, increase your interactiveness. And we've got drugs. What's a cyberpunk game without drugs? A lot healthier. Addiction saves. And then we've got different types of drugs. Dorf, black lace. We've got notes and errata section. A spare copy of the interface map, and lots of reference sheets showing the prices of different things. And a standard Cyberpunk character sheet, which still kind of looks the same all these years later. Reference sheet for skills, so if you printed that out, they can have all reference.
Alright, let me see here. Disguise, is that a skill? Shadowing ditch. I'm trying to see if any of the skills didn't make it to red. Yeah, shadowing ditch. The skill of shadowing and following people. The skill is primarily urban. Yeah, there's a tracking skill now in red. Stealth is still there. Disguise? Is there disguise? I don't remember if there's software design, the skill of writing software, including net running programs and others. That's interesting because in 2020 in Brainware Blowout, software design doesn't exist as a skill, but you can make programs using your interface and your intelligence, something like that. Complex language. Yeah, that's about it. Pistol, rifle, melee weapon, driving, athletics, martial arts, brawling. The skill of street fighting, unlike martial arts, brawling involves little or no training. You're just built different. You fight different because you built different. Okay. Interesting.
Sheet for skills. So if you printed that out, they can have all of their stuff on the front, but they can look things up. They know how much different weapons will cost, what their skills actually do. So we're on to the third book. These are all fairly brief. Welcome to Night City, a sourcebook for 2013. So we've got the timeline for the 2000s, basically explaining how we get from 1989 up to 2013. Including space programs, the takeover of corporations, etc. It describes the world. The United States, 25 years of corrupt government.
The future year of 2013, baby.
Economic destabilization has resulted in a nation divided by class, by race, and by economics. Kind of sounds like they almost got it right. So we've got all the information about the United States, about the world, legal backgrounds, what weapons are like, transportation, including the use of ospreys, which kind of did happen. We now have military aircraft which are tilt wing. They swivel their propellers round to do vertical takeoff and landing and then propel them forward.
Yeah, as you can see here, they even have stats for like things that you'll probably never... When am I going to ever use a Bell Boeing V-22B Osprey in my game? You know what I mean? But if I ever do, I know that it's max speed, it's range, structural damage points, and all the... If like we have a battlefield where there's a crashed one, you know what I mean? But it's that kind of care into it where you're not just talking about the thing, you're giving it stats. That's what I remember from old Cyberpunk. Everything had stats because somebody thought about that. Somebody was like, if you want to put it in your game, this is like the official stats for it. I love that.
Their propellers round to do vertical takeoff and landing and then propel them forward. Different communications things, which still has fax in it.
Look at that brick of a cell phone.
It's odd because in the real world, fax was long forgotten by 2013. Although I know a bunch of companies still use it. Newspapers, television and radio, assorted tips and tricks for doing the cyberpunk genre.
Yeah, I heard about a lot of people that play 2020 adopting the red net running rules as well. Yep.
Talking about Night City itself and a map which is very, very different from the Cyberpunk 2077 game. A picture of Johnny Silverhand, because what would it be without Johnny Silverhand in
the man himself
Cyberpunk product? A cyberpunk adventure, which is all about Johnny and Alt Cunningham. And we get stats for Johnny there, Thompson and Media, Rogue, who also features heavily in the Cyberpunk 2077 game. Different vehicles, Santiago, and we go through the run until we reach Alt, who looks...
All this artwork is so beautiful. I have the Johnny Silverhand right here. I have that same Alt up there on my wall. This artwork is just... timeless. Absolutely classic, amazing artwork.
Better there than she ever did in the video game, I have to say.
Nextel. That's
a nice full-page picture of her. Corporate life. So describing how corporations work. How they have basically taken over from governments. And then we've got corporate profiles. So it talks about Euro Business Machines Corporation, Zetatech, Microtech, Net.
See, even the corporations have stats. Everything about them is stats. Regional offices, available on market, name and location, covert operatives, troops. equipment and resources. This is all to empower the game master into using these corporations in their game, which is awesome.
But Network News 54, Orbital Air, Infocomp, Biotechia, Petrochem, Militech, WorldSat Communications, Arasaka, which plays such a large point in the video game. Just another Friday night. So we've got things here, Silverhand Can Still Rock, like news articles, telling us what the world's like from being inside it. Talks about booster gangs. A press release or information release about Arasaka. Gang violence erupts on the night city streets. One Night with the Trauma Team. These are all in-world stories as if you were reading through a newspaper, and these were articles in it to help immerse you in the game. A really good
it's like short stories basically. It's awesome. It reading this source book really, like you said, immerses you into Night City.
Another character sheet and a list of Netrunner programs. So that is Cyberpunk 2013, first edition, whatever you want to call it. And they got so much right from the beginning. There's loads of brilliant stuff in here, especially the character generation. Now, I'll cover the rules in a future rules breakdown video, because they are different to Cyberpunk 2020, but we can see where the evolution came from. And what else was fantastic in it? There's so much great world building. There is so much great about the info dump. So they give you newspaper stuff. Not only are you learning about the world, but you're learning what people think in that world.
Which we still have in Red. It's something that they kept going with, you know what I mean? Immersing you into the culture of Cyberpunk. But it's so cool to know that in 1988 they were doing that, and now in the 2020s they're doing that as well. R. Talsorian had some of the best written games through the 80s and 90s. Yeah, the style and everything is just beautiful. Absolutely.
A really, really good way of telling you about things and immersing you in the world from the very beginning. So that was Cyberpunk 2013. A great win there with 30% of the vote in this week's poll. But all week it was neck and neck with the second placed at 28%. AD&D Player's Handbook from TSR in 1978, the first edition Player's Handbook. So they were tight all week, and this was one of my most successful polls, 184 votes, which is about the highest, or if not the highest.
I'm just as interested to learn about AD&D, so if he has another video about that, I'll be sure to watch it. But yeah, because I've heard the same kind of things about AD&D. It's like, it's D&D but deadly, D&D but unforgiving, which I like that idea, but you know, I don't exactly know exactly how that went down or the results of it, but if it's anything indicative of old school RPGs, I believe how deadly it was.
Itself. Everything else was way back behind. Legend of the Five Rings came in on 17%, Boot Hill 2nd Edition came in on 15%, and the Dark Tech Sourcebook for Dark Conspiracy came in on only 10%. But as I mentioned at the start of the video, I've had an absolutely chaotic week. First of all, at the start of the week, I picked up a stomach bug and I felt very, very queasy and couldn't get much done at all. But once I recovered from that, things were looking back on schedule. But unfortunately, last night, my son speared his finger with a little shard of glass, almost completely penetrating his finger completely through.
Oh, God.
So we ended up having to head at midnight to the accident emergency department at the local hospital, where we sat for about 4 hours until he could get treated. It was a Thursday night, things were pretty busy, and eventually they helped him out. They removed the glass, they did an x-ray, made sure that everything was out of the wound, and bandaged him up and sent us on our way. But that meant before I had to get up this morning to do other things, I only had 3 hours of sleep. So I'm a bit bleary-eyed.
And you made a video? Dang, dude.
Instead of running another poll, what I'm going to do is take that second place one, because it was only 2% behind, and we'll make the video on that next week, which will give me time to put up another poll in the next few days, and we'll leave that running longer. And so instead of running a week, it'll run a week and a half or slightly over that, and we'll do a Retro Adventures one, and we'll get onto that, which I will announce at the end of the AD&D video. But anyway, what else have I been up to? Well, I've still been releasing my comedic comedy Dungeons and Dragons classes on Drive-Thru RPG, so if you check them out, they're linked down to below. And over on RPG Gamer, well, this chaos hasn't helped me out, but I'm still working my way slowly through Knights of the Old Republic and doing D6 stats. So if you love the old Star Wars D6 system, if you check out RPG Gamer and comment and join in as we fill in this period of Star Wars alternate history, because all of that's now become legends. But anyway, I think I've been wittering on for quite long enough.
All right, we know the rest. Make sure you guys like and subscribe and support RPG Gamer. I'll make sure to put his name in the link in the description below. But this is awesome. Let's see, did he do some other ones? We should cover some of the other. Legend of the Five Rings, D&D Adventure, D&D is Evil. Yeah, a lot of cool videos. A lot of cool videos. We'll check it out. Palladium's videos and stuff like that. All right. So yeah, make sure you guys support RPG Gamer and you do all that. Great video. Cyberpunk 2013 is one of the best ever made. And I really enjoyed watching that video. Really enjoyed learning about it. So thank you, Freddie at rpggamer.org. I'm guessing that is his email. All right. I appreciate it. Thanks for the video. All right, Chooms. I am going to be taking off. I have to go pick up my son from school. This was a wonderful chat that we had. We only got to go through 2 things because the video was an awesome one and I wanted to watch it from beginning to end. But I appreciate you guys being here and helping me make content. Hopefully I'll get on the horn again very soon and we'll do some more because I got a lot of stuff here. I got how do you do rumors as a GM? Former D&D lead says bonus actions suck. I have opinions. That's from Dungeon Craft. We got all kinds of videos to talk about, so we're going to save that for the next time. I really appreciate all your support. Thank you all for coming here. Thank you all for watching, and we'll see you guys on the next one. All right? Take care. Bye. Thank you all. Thank you everybody in chat too. Thank you for being here. I really